Let's take a look at Adobe InDesign CC. In particular, we're going to take a look at how we get started with the workspace and setting up a business card. So we come to our opening page and we're going to look at how we set up a document. I hit Create New. When we come into Create New, we can see we have options from print to web to mobile, and we also have some templates that come with Creative Cloud. I'm going to click on the template, and a lot of times opening up a template is a great way to start to get familiar and get a good overview of Adobe InDesign. Before we open up that template though, let's take a look at some of the preset details. So here we can set the size of our document, and we can see we can work in inches, millimeters, centimeters, pixels, picas, points, a lot of different options. We can also set our margins. Our margins are things that we'll set and really help guide us as we lay out the text and the images on our page. We can also see we have a bleed and a slug. Let's come on over here and let's just open up one of these templates. And I'm going to start with this one right here. And we can see that this is an A4 horizontal layout, and that it has some different things there. But actually, before I do that, let's click over to view all presets, and we can see that we have some other options as well. We could do the layout for a compact disc, a business card, and our different size papers that we're going to work with. I'm going to open up this template right here. I'm going to download it. And it's going to come on in through Adobe Stock for free, and I am going to open it. What you're going to find as you go out onto the internet, you'll see that there are a lot of free templates that you can work from. So as I'm looking at this template, I can see how I have font and color, and I could actually really work with this template and put my own content in here. Now, for this project and getting started with InDesign, I wanted to just show you templates and let you know that there's a ton of them. You can find them on the web, free ones, you can pay for ones, and many times maybe when you're working, you'll actually open up an InDesign file and have to change things around. Now, for this project though, let's actually set up our own InDesign file. So I'm going to come to File, New Document. And again, I'm going to take a closer look at this page. I'm going to set up a business card, and I can see I have a business card right here. Now I'm going to change this to inches, and if you can find the business card preset, but you can also just come on in and type in 3.5 by 2 and decide if you want it to be, how you want it to be oriented. Either way is good. I'm going to unclick facing pages, and I'm going to get rid of my margins. I don't want to have a margin, such a small space. I'm going to hit Create. And I have my page for my business card. Here we have it. Now, I want to do a front and a back. Now I can see as I look here that this has an A on it, and that's when we create master pages. I'm not going to worry so much about that, and I'm going to create a second page. I don't need to base it on A. Now you could come in and just hit this little button down here, create new page, then I could delete them as well. The pages in InDesign are really powerful, and we could do lots of different stuff with them. So this is now the front of my business card. Maybe I want to start with my business card and just add a shape. So I'm going to come to my tool panel, and I can see that I have a shape here, my rectangle tool. And if I wanted to put a color, as the background, I would just come on in and create the shape. If I pull it off a little bit, that's okay. A lot of times we set a bleed. What the bleed is it actually goes beyond the document. And when you work with a printer, a lot of times you'll figure that out and get that set there. I'm going to turn off this color, and I'm going to come on in, and I'm going to choose my color. I'm going to come back to Adobe Illustrator because I have a color that I was working with, and I'm going to get the numbers for that color, and then I can add it directly in. B57, C7, C. I'm going to come back to Adobe Illustrator, Adobe InDesign, forgive me, and I'm going to type in that number, B57C7C. I hit OK, and now I have my color. Now I can see somehow I put this on to page 2, which is fine. On page 1, I'm going to actually work a little bit differently. I am going to do one of two things. I could just take a line tool and I could run it across the top, bring it all the way over. And I also am going to make it the color that I just used. Now, if I come on in and I go to Window and I open up Color, I can see that I have my color right in here. And one more time, Color Swatches. What I'm going to do is actually add the color that I'm using on the other side to my document. So I'm going to go to this page. And as I look at my swatches, I want to have this color selected. And I want to add this color to my swatches. I come back to the front and I can click onto here and I want to flip those two colors. And I can even make this a thicker stroke. So I come to Window, I open up my stroke, and I can make this thicker. I can fill up the top portion of my page layout. Bring this in a little bit. Maybe even go a little bit bigger. Now, what else I could have done, I just did this with a line, but I also could have just created a shape. I'm creating a shape at the top, a shape at the bottom. So really either way, whichever way you want to do. Adding the color fill, turning the stroke off. So we have shapes of color. Now again, I'm not so worried about colors that are running off of the side. So I have the front, I have the back of the card. I'm going to zoom it on in. So maybe on the front, I want to place my logo. So what I have for my logo is an InDesign image. So what I want to do, that is an image. So you could place in Adobe Illustrator files, PSD files, JPEGs, PNGs, lots of different kind of files you can place inside of Adobe InDesign. So I'm actually going to create a shape that's going to be the holder for my logo. And I'm going to place it right in the middle. And I'm going to come to File and I'm going to choose Place. I left this on my desktop, so I'm going to come to Logo, Open, and Place. Now, right now, as I look, I don't see anything. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a right click, a control click, and I'm going to do Fitting, and I'm going to say Fill Frame Proportionally. And now I can see my logo. I can move this around. I can make it a little bit smaller. And again, I can work with the fitting, control click. Again, I can choose this. I can control click, right click, choose fitting. I'm going to go for fill frame proportionally. So now what we're going to find is I can move this logo up. And again, really any logo that someone wants to work with. And now I can add some type. So I'm going to just grab my T for type, and I can create a text box if I'd like to. I can come on in and create a text box. I'm going to draw this on out. I'm going to do all caps, your business name. Now, as I look at this, type is really powerful. And even choice of font is also, color of font is very powerful. I'm going to come to Window and I am going to open up some of my type windows. I'm going to work with the character window to get started. My character window is right down here. And I definitely want a font that is without a serif. So I'm going to choose a sans serif font. And for this one right here, again, there's so many different choices for fonts. I know Arial has a lot of choices with it. So I'm going to click on select my font and change it up. Actually, let's just go for Helvetica. Again, we have all these different options with Helvetica. We'll go for Helvetica Medium. And again, I can choose a different one. I could say Helvetica Light. I kind of like that one a little bit better. Now, I definitely don't like this black. It's just way too dark, the contrast. I'm going to actually choose the color that I have below. So again, I'm going to select my font and I'm going to come on in here and I can come to my window and one more time, my color guide is somewhere. I'm going to turn it on one more time, my swatches, and I want to apply this color to that color right there. So I have my business name. Okay, now maybe I want to actually work with the spacing as well. So I come on into my character here and I can work with the tracking. Now I always know that it's not fitting in the box when I see that little red plus sign. So I can come on in over here, stretch this on out. And again, I want to stretch this out further, so I'm going to put a little bit more space between my letters. Your business name, whatever it may be. Wonderful. Again, I want to think about, as I look at my design here, hierarchy of information. So maybe I'll have another line of type below. I'm going to select and just copy this, bring it below. But I want what's below to be much smaller, right? So, and maybe I'm going to change it. Maybe I'm not going to use cap locks either since 1990. Definitely want this to be a lot smaller. So I'm going to make the size smaller for hierarchy. And I want to center this. Now, because I know these are the same size as well, if I wanted to center this within the space where it is, I can take a look at the paragraph and I can see, right, aligned center. Again, it's based on the box that it is in. And who knows, maybe I can move this box up a little bit closer. And again, keep looking at things, coming back and seeing what's what and what works. And as I'm looking at this, I actually do want to keep caps. So I'm going to put my cap locks back on. And I'm going to go even a little bit smaller. Wonderful. And maybe I'll bring them closer together. All right, so there's a lot of different ways that we can work with this. Now, as we're looking at this, we can see all of the boxes as well. So maybe we want to change this up. And as I'm looking too, I'm thinking, I don't want to forget that I'm viewing this at 300%. So I already know as I'm looking at the size of font, I know that I'm actually going a little bit too small because, I'm looking at it at 300%. So I have set this font to 6 points, way too small. No one's going to be able to read that. And that's my mistake. So it's always really important to print things out. I want to keep this at 10 and then I'm going to put this bigger. And we'll go 18. And again, it looks huge, but don't forget, I'm looking at this at 300%. That is my problem. Okay. So how do I know that I'm looking at this at 300%? Well, I come up in here, now I'm at 200%. I also think it's really important to print stuff out and then you really know, what does this look like? Now, again, so much ends up happening as because of what we name something. So, I have your business name. That's really long. Maybe your type was less characters, right? So it wouldn't even be relevant. I just want your business. I'm going to get rid of name. line this up. So what we've gone over so far in Adobe InDesign is how we create, how we place in images. Here we place in an Illustrator file, and we've worked with type. Now we're going to come to the back page, and we can start to put the information, right? Now what I could do as well is I could place that logo back in one more time. So I'm going to come to File, Place. I'm going to find the logo one more time. Now, the problem is it's the exact same color, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to choose this color right here, and I'm going to make this fit. Because right now, see how huge it is? I'm going to do Control, and I'm going to go to Fitting, and I'm going to say Fill Frame Proportionally. Perfect. Okay. Now I want to click on this color back in here, and I'm actually going to lower the opacity. So I want to actually come on up to Window, and I want to make sure as I'm working that some of my different windows are open. So I have my application frame. So I want to make sure that the control is turned on. Now, when I click on the control, I can see I have a lot of different options in here. And I click on to this image right here. And again, I can see the colors that I have. And I want to be able to set, I can change the tint. So see, as I come on in and change the tint, then I can have this other color, this other logo, and it's creating an interesting kind of contrast to it. Now, what I want to do though, is I know that this might actually create some competition between the background stuff. So I'm actually going to up the tint. I'm going to put it up to like, let's go up a little bit more. I want it to just be kind of very secondary so we can see that outline in there. Now I'm going to come on in and I'm going to start working with my type. Now, as you look at this too, sometimes it's going to be easy when I grab my type and I click, it's like, oh no, it ends up getting stuck inside of the shape. And I don't want to do that. So what I'm going to do, and I just did edit undo, let me redo this, put this back up. I think it was at 90 is perfect. I'm going to actually open up the layer. So I come to Window and I open up my layers. And when I bullet this on down, I can see that I have my logo. I'm going to lock that logo up, and I am going to actually create a new layer on here. And I want to put my type. I'm going to say this is the type. I hit OK. And now I'm going to come on in and I'm going to put the name, the address, the website, the contact info, all that good stuff. So again, I'm going to add type, create a type box, and just start adding this in here. This time, I'm going to make the font white. And I'm going to start to type. So I've just added some font. And you can really keep working with your font. You can maybe not go totally for white. Maybe again, go for something that is, somewhere between the color that you're choosing. A lot of times when we work with font, we just think of using white or black. But again, we have other options. We have a lot of different options for that matter. So you can continue to work with where you want to place the title and the name, maybe even introduce other lines, and whatever you need on your business card, a website, address, email, make sure to add it on here, working with the font and the type tool. That's it for now. Thanks so much for watching.